Hi, I'm Donald McIntyre, Senior Editor at the ETC Cooperative. Today, we're going to talk about the ETC Grants Program, one of the winners, which is Giveth. And we're going to talk to Griff Green, the founder of Giveth. Hi, Griff. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, man?
Very well, thank you. Thank you very much for your time and for being here with us. And I wanted to ask you a few questions about the project to know more about it. The first one is, if you could describe the team.
Sure. Yeah. So Giveth is a very culturally diverse team. We are all over the place, all over the world, from the west coast of Canada to the Philippines and everywhere in between. We have a large dev team, probably around 10 developers. And Giveth is kind of intermixed with another project called General Magic. They're more of a for-profit consulting team, and so there's a little bit of a mix. Sometimes, like most of our design team actually works for General Magic, and they kind of come in to do design work. And actually, some of our devs, when there's not a lot of Giveth work, actually go and contract out with General Magic. So if you combine both of those teams, we're around 50 people. But some people only sometimes, some of the times are working for Giveth, and other times they're working for a lot of other projects too.
So at any given time, the 50 people can be working on the non-profit side or the profit side.
Exactly. And this is to survive bear market.
Yeah.
That's what we got to do.
That's good. Yeah. This one has been a long one.
Yeah.
The second question is if you could describe the project itself, Giveth. What is Giveth?
Yeah. Well, Giveth is focused on really bringing in the nonprofit space and the nonprofit ethos into the crypto scene, right? The people who are on the ground right now making change. For me, crypto is about building something better than governments. And it might surprise people the direction that we're taking, but I don't think it should be a surprise, because if you really think about it, when governments fail to provide value to society, people start nonprofits. When people demand some kind of, when the government isn't providing clean water nonprofits crop up in Venezuela, for instance. So nonprofits are the seed of the revolution, the seed of the evolution for a better society that doesn't focus on government. So Giveth is trying to be this bridge for the people in the nonprofit space today to connect with the Web3 world, to build these bridges to really make progress toward this dream of having sort of like a free market replacement for governments using Web3 tech.
So I checked out the Giveth, and I think that the two main participants, correct me if I'm wrong, are the donors on one side and the projects on the other, no?
Yeah, so Giveth is an application today. So there's Giveth as a movement, which is what I kind of described before. And then there's the actual application that we're moving to Ether Classic. It's a donation application like GoFundMe or Indiegogo and or Kickstarter. And yes, it's any project can come into Giveth, create a project and get it listed. And if they're creating public goods, like value for society at large, then they can become verified and get givebacks. So the cool thing is when donors donate to a project on Giveth, 100% of the donation goes to the nonprofit. But at the time, we kind of do like donation mining. So when someone donates, we actually give them give tokens for donating. As long as it's to a public goods project, a verified public goods project. And so the donors receive give tokens. The project gets all of the donation. And if the project uses a referral address, like a referral key, they actually can get a portion of the givebacks. We have lots of cool Web3 features that Indiegogo could never do. We don't take cuts from the donations. We have quadratic funding. We have referral links that share the give token rewards based off of to people getting referrals. And we have all sorts of other cool features that really are only available because we created an economy around our platform with the give token.
Yeah. And And also something that Kickstarter and those wouldn't be able to do is to make them permissionless, no?
Exactly. Exactly.
Decentralized.
I mean, we have projects from Iran, we have projects from anywhere in the world that are on our platform. We do not discriminate. We do have a listing process. So when someone creates a project, they get a link and they can send that link anywhere. So because it is our front end and our website, we don't want like, violent projects, for instance, that are like saying let's bomb Israel or something right now, right? So we have our own guidelines that we do enforce that are more akin to like, don't promote violence, don't use profanity, these kinds of things. But we don't care who you are, where you're from, or as long as you're providing value to society, your project will make it to our front end, and people can donate it from all around the world. We don't take any custody of any funds.
Okay.
It's just a direct send.
It happens on the blockchain, on the smart contract.
Yeah, there's not even smart contracts actually. So when you create a project on Giveth, you just put in your address. It can be your personal key.
Okay.
And when someone donates to you, they send it to you. So it's a direct transfer. We have pure. We used to do it with smart contracts, honestly, and it was just more complicated for everyone. So we try to make it as frictionless as possible. You just bring your own address, one account abstraction, and other cool user experience arise. We'll move more towards smart contracts, but we've been around since 2016, and we've been doing this for a long time, trying to make it easy for nonprofits and donors alike. And even just that extra approve button that you have to use to make a transfer of a token to a project, like, why?
Yes.
So we removed all of that, and we just go straight peer-to-peer donations.
So the part that touches the blockchain, Giveth today is on Ethereum, no?
We're on Ethereum, and we're on Optimism and Polygon and Gnosis chain.
So now the people go to your web app, and you have the project, you have the donor, and when there is a match and they send money, that's the only time that it touches the blockchain, which is the transaction to move funds from the donor to them. And
then we reward them with give tokens. But that's something we do post-processing. Like we look at all the donations for the last 2 weeks, and we match those donations with give back rewards.
The give token is GIV is the symbol. The give token is an ERC20 token.
Yes.
Okay. So that also is on the blockchain.
Yep. So that's on Ethereum and Gnosis chain and Optimism, and we're bringing it to ETC. We're very excited to bring it to ETH Classic.
So now Giveth is going to be in those blockchains that you mentioned, and also in ETC, and this was the purpose of getting the grant.
Yes, we're very excited to try to bring more of a donation culture to Ethereum Classic.
That's amazing. This brings me to a question, which is, and we're gonna talk about these things later, no? These competition between proof of stake and proof of work, and then Ethereum and ETC, which were one before, now separated. But now the only isolated question that I have is this the first time that you're going to implement Giveth on a proof of work blockchain?
Let's see. I mean, Giveth was on Ethereum when it was proof of work.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that. Let me think. Because Optimism's a roll-up. Celo, I believe, is like a delegated proof of stake as well. So I guess it will be.
Polygon.
I guess it will be the only proof of work blockchain. Yeah.
That's interesting. So you didn't have issues with the proof of work, proof of stake debate, whether one is good, the other is bad, or things like that?
No, I mean, I've always been more of a fan of I mean, they both have their merits. They both have their merits, and I'm not one that's like, oh my God, we're spending too much electricity. I feel like markets will settle themselves out, honestly, and that we should trust markets to manage these things. I I'm more of a fan of Ethereum. I think the proof of stake strategy makes sense for Ethereum. I think the proof of work strategy makes sense for Ether Classic.
That's very interesting. I think there's two things that you said that are very interesting. One is that you started with smart contracts, the whole back end, and now you reduce that, and you just use the blockchain for its most fundamental value, no, which is the treasury and the movements. And the other thing is that you are working both on proof of stake and proof of work blockchains, and that you are agnostic in that sense. That's very, very, very interesting. The only other question that I had about the project itself is if the projects proposed have to be public goods, and what is the definition of a public good so people can know and go and post them?
No, anyone can post a project on Giveth and get a link and send funds to people. And even if you just have a business idea that you're trying to make money off of and you want to use Giveth to fundraise for that, sure, go ahead. And you'll even be searchable and everything. But what we're really focused on and what our goal is to support projects that are providing public goods. Public goods are the things that governments and nonprofits generally strive to provide. These are things like roads or taking care of the homeless, taking care of the environment. These things do not have great business models because they don't have customers. Public goods, the academic definition of a public good is something that is non-rivalrous and non-excludable. Blah, blah, blah. No one cares. Public goods are good. Public goods are things that are good for society, good for the public, and that don't have business models, right? Because instead of excluding people, you provide this value to everyone. When you take care of the homeless person, you're not just helping that homeless person, you're also helping the whole neighborhood who, when they walk by the homeless person, they're like, distraught a little bit. And so when you take care of the environment, there's no one to charge. These things don't have good business models, but we believe they can have good economic models. And that's really the end goal is not donations for Giveth. Donations is a stepping stone to enabling these groups to actually create their own economies and create their own currencies.
Good.
So while Giveth right now is removing all the smart contracts to make ease of use for non-technical people, we actually want to one day make it so that people can launch their own economy on Giveth, launch their own token, and have their own reward mechanisms for people who are providing value to society.
Okay, good. Bueno, thank you. Thank you very much for the explanation. How much did you get from the ETC grants program?
Well, I believe we got $50,000. We haven't gotten it all yet. We're doing more of a milestone-based approach.
Yeah.
We want to, we're running technical hurdles. The graph is something that we rely on. And so we need to do all the things that we want to do, which do include smart contracts. For instance, giving people who are holding Give tokens on Ethereum Classic a way to stake those Give tokens and actually earn rewards for doing so. We need the graph. So we're still investigating on the technical side exactly how to do that and deploy our own graph node. So I hope we're going to get the full 50K if we can provide the full work, but we don't want the money if we can't do the work. So
to clarify, you got $50,000, but the conditions of giving of the transfers is based on milestones and things like that. So you're gonna go getting the $50,000 according to a program that you propose, and as you go delivering, you get all the money.
Exactly, and we're looking at a huge technical hurdle that we're not 100% sure we can solve.
Okay.
I think I hope we can, and we're working with people from the graph to do it, but it doesn't all rely on us, unfortunately. So,
What is the graph? What you
is a indexer. It's like when things happen in smart contracts, the smart contract will send out an event, right?
Mhm,
And it will also change balances.
mhm.
And the graph is a middleware that's kind of a piece of infrastructure that a lot of blockchains use, Ethereum-based blockchains, to manage listening for events and balance changes and
Okay.
querying those, and then using that information to then update the front end. Because going straight from blockchain to like the website,
Mhm.
it's really slow and ugly.
Uh-huh.
And like, and it's really hard. And so the graph is middleware that's made specifically for listening to the blockchain for specific events or balance changes, and then updating the little numbers on a website
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
show how many tokens you have and stuff like that.
So you would need to build a graph to be able to digamos, adapt the website also to ETC.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'd have to completely rebuild our website, and honestly, we can't do that for the
Okay.
it's not enough.
Bueno,
But
I hope
but
we solve that.
I hope so too. And honestly, I think if we do, it will be a big boom for, because other projects have solved this. I think Swap has got to be using some kind of solution for this.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's not very well publicized. And if we do solve it, we will write a blog post or something. We'll put it out there, put some documentation out there that can help other people who are running into similar issues that we are.
Don't block explorers solve this because they provide all the information that's happening in the blockchain.
They solve it for an individual person who wants to find that information out. But if you want to build a website that, when you click a button and you stake your tokens, then those numbers just like very quickly show up
Mm-hmm.
and give a user experience that someone is like, oh yeah, this is smooth.
Yes.
A block explorer won't solve that because it takes maybe 30 seconds for a transaction to even show up on a block explorer, and then we would have to query the block explorer to get these APIs out. And
Yeah,
how do we pay for these things, these queries with the block explorer? That it would be nice. Block explorers have the infrastructure to do this work, but there is very specialized middleware.
yeah. They apply it to a different thing, and you need to create your own.
Unfortunately, users have such expectations.
Yeah.
Damn those users and their expectations. Like they want everything to happen so quickly and smoothly. So we have to try to live up to it.
You mentioned this briefly, but the next question is, why did you choose ETC?
Well, I'll be honest, I feel like I'm almost a founder of ETC.
Uh-huh.
I have some history here. My first project was the DAO, and I was part of the White Hat group who rescued the DAO and helped. Yeah, like I worked for Slockit during the DAO days, and I helped make sure that the hard fork happened so that ETC could exist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think most people would frame it that way. And honestly, I think a lot of the ETC true believers don't like my stance on this very controversial issue. But I think that the magic of ETC and blockchains in general is that you cannot use blockchain tech to impose your values on other people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why ETC exists, because some people believe that the substrate of Ethereum should be immutable and should not have given the money back to DAO token holders. And I tend to be on the other side of that debate. And I think that it's important that we use whatever means possible to hack the hacker and give people the money back that they lost. So, but what's cool is that it's not a 51% vote that decides these things. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually consensus networks. So
Yeah.
social consensus was formed, and the people who wanted to give the money back to the hacker or let the hacker keep the money and like live to the ideals of immutability, they have Ether Classic. And so yeah, so I'm happy to play both sides of that coin. I think both systems have, it's proven, it's just true that both systems have value, right?
I am also another hybrid like you, because I was in Ethereum since interacting since 2014. I met Vitalik since 2013, but
Wow.
so I was part of the community, and I was against the DAO hard fork and really arguing very almost actively and vehemently and passionately again with Vitalik and Vlad Samfir, even Bob Somerville, etc., against doing the hard fork and just almost respecting immutability. But when the split happened, I didn't stay with ETC. I stayed with Ethereum for a year, I think, continuing to argue. At that time, I was that event changed me in a way that I learned about security, true security, no, on blockchains and security in general. Much more. I became much more aware. For me, the blockchain was, wow, decentralized, and we can do smart contracts. It was all about the innovation and the gadgets. But that event gave me awareness of security, and I also, it changed my mind also about proof of stake. So I argued with Vlad and Vitalik for 1 year for them to not push and to continue with the proof of stake and to keep Ethereum with proof of work. But when I saw that it was futile and that I was going to lose, then I moved to ETC, and in 2018 I started to work for ETC.
Nice. So really it's the proof of work that keeps you like focused on ETC.
I would say security. The purpose of I worked with Nick Szabo in 2 projects. He in a way, he's my mentor in all these things about blockchain and cypherpunk philosophy and all that. And clearly they have only one goal, which is to minimize the role of trusted third parties and to increase security. So that was my focus, and I believe that proof of work is the only consensus mechanism that really solves the decentralization thing up to at least up to 50% fault tolerance. So that's more or less my philosophy. But this is very interesting. So we already spoke then about your experience with the DAO and why ETC. You explained ETC and that you are okay with proof of work and proof of stake, that you think that they have different roles and good roles for Ethereum, good roles for ETC. My last question is the GIV token, no? So people, the more activity there is, people are going to go receiving the Give token, and this includes the donors and the projects, if they are public good projects, and they have to be verified by the team, by your team. What's the GIV token good for? What does it do? Like
if you are, so on the donation platform, there's always this challenge, like who gets shown first? And so we use Give tokens for governance, not only for, we use it for the most important and interesting thing is probably that if you stake your Give tokens, then you can boost projects and move them up on the list. So it's kind of like there's this term called token curated registry. Basically, the projects on Giveth can be sorted and are default sorted by how many Give tokens have staked behind each project, is a way to frame it. Also, for our own development, we have this thing called token log, where Give token holders can decide which issues are prioritized for our development. So right now it's like multi-sig compatibility is the most is I believe on top. And so, but because right now you can't really use it with a multi-sig, so They want us to get it safe to work with it. So that's what we're working on. And so Give token holders really run Giveth. And on top, and also you can stake your Give tokens for governance, and we reward people who are actively staking. So there is a issuance, kind of like issuance that is going to people who stake. And the longer you lock your tokens, the more issuance you get. So it's kind of like a good interest rate. And on top of that, the real goal of Giveth, again, is not donations. This is a stepping stone. And what we want to do is we want to allow Give tokens to be the substrate for the investment opportunities of nonprofits. I believe that we won't succeed at building something better than governments until you can invest in a nonprofit. Sounds kind of crazy, but that's the goal. And we're going to use Give tokens to make that easy. And it's all integrated into making a nonprofit kind of a hybrid, so they can request donations and receive investment. And when they receive investment, we love bonding curves. Bonding curves actually are kind of popular with friend tech right now, and these friend tech clones. But what we're really excited about using it for is more for, instead of like friend tech, where it's like kind of a scammy thing, it's so that a nonprofit can actually get investment and create a token that has built-in liquidity already. It's always liquid token. And when someone gets a donation, instead of getting when these projects get donations, instead of the givebacks going to the donor, the givebacks would go into the bonding curve and issue a project token to the donors. So that the donors, their investors, and their workers, the people who are creating value for the organization, can all have a share in the potential like future of this project. And if the project grows and the price of the token goes up, then they all actually financially benefit from building this public good. And the Give token is going to be the key token of that substrate. So that's the future utility that we're working towards building. We call it GERVs. And there's a great blog post that goes through this. It's called evolving nonprofits into regional economies. Regional economies. So like regenerative.
Oh, okay. Regenerative. Okay. So the Give token is a core component of the whole system.
Yeah. I mean, the Give token is all over our application, and it has a lot of power over Giveth. And so when you donate to a public goods project through Giveth, you are not only like just a donor that like, oh, you're sending somebody money, but you're now also a governor of our application, our movement.
And if people want to go and check out Giveth right now, where do they have to go?
Giveth.io. And actually we're running a quadratic funding round, which I can't wait till we can do this on Ether Classic. But we're running a quadratic funding round right now with a $25,000 matching pool. So if this video goes out in the next 2 weeks, that will still be active. So you can donate to projects right now and get crazy matching. Donate $2 and all of a sudden the project will get $20, $30, $40.
Okay, good. So it's Giveth.io.
Yep.
Very good. That's where people can go right now to go and see it. Yes, this is going to, today is Monday, October 9th, and this is going to be published tomorrow, Tuesday, October 10th.
Oh, perfect. Wow.
All right. So people will have time to do it. Bueno, thank you so much, Griff, for your time. Thank you for explaining everything about Giveth, and congratulations for earning the $50,000 that you're going to get as you deliver the milestones. And this is the first round of the ETC grants program. And I guess that if it goes well, you can apply in future rounds, etc. Yeah, well, and if it goes well, anyone who is a big fan of ETC can put their project and raise donations in ETC, which is the most exciting part. Excellent. Thank you very much, Griff. Thank you, Donald. Goodbye.